Each week on the show, Simon, we like to play a couple of games to finish out our podcast. We like to do This Week in History and the birthday quiz. So, how about we kick it off with This Week in History?
I've got a bunch of ones that I think are going to test you a little bit. June 1934, same decade I was born. Which beloved cartoon character makes their first appearance in the animated short film A Wise Little Hen? Which beloved cartoon character makes their first appearance in A Wise Little Hen on June 1934?
1934. Oh, I don't know. Like, it feels too early for something like a foghorn leghorn. I'm going to say that, but that's not right.
Walt Disney said, "One of the greatest satisfactions is the warm relationship that exists within our cartoon family. Mickey, Pluto, Goofy, and the whole gang have always been a lot of fun to work with. But like many large families, we have a problem child, and that problem child is Donald Duck." It was Donald Duck who made his first appearance on this day.
Okay. Yeah.
Very
I'm just
nice.
trying to think of like farm-based creatures.
Yeah, sure. The farmyard. It's a community. Yeah. June 12, 1939. It is the first day of shooting on Paramount Pictures Dr. Cyclops, the first horror film to utilize, I'll try that again, what new technology?
Like, that just seems too early for 3D, like, color? Like, that seems too late for,
you know what?
like,
I'm going to give you that. It's actually 3-strip Technicolor. Now, the Technicolor cameras were huge because they recorded red, green, and blue light onto 3 separate strips of film. Then in 1926, they developed the Technicolor dye transfer process, which transferred the color images on 3 strips of film to another single strip of film. And this single strip of film became the Technicolor print that we saw in some of the great movies and some of the most artistic movies of the Hollywood era. So, yes, Technicolor, which was a shame it was all wasted on Dr. Cyclops because it's kind of a shit film, but that was the first one. Okay, and finally, June 14, 1996, the leading man of this day's big Hollywood premiere set a new record for an upfront salary payment. Who was he? What film? And how much was he paid?
Okay, I feel very confident with this one. I believe that we are talking about Jim Carrey's fee for The Cable Guy, as directed by Ben Stiller and written by Judd. The fee, as I recall, was $20 million.
He hit the $20 million mark. There was a huge backlash about Columbia TriStar paying, or Sony Pictures paying him $20 million for this. There had been a cap of about 16 or 17 at the time. But when you see stars like Bruce Willis getting $16.5 million for Last Man Standing, and Arnold Schwarzenegger getting $17 million for Eraser, and Stallone getting $17 million for Daylight, films that just died in the death, you can see why executives wanted to pull it back. But Carrey, coming off Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber and a whole lot of big hits, he was considered box office gold. He secured $20 million
until this film.
Up front. Yes, yeah, well, exactly. Then the Cable Guy stumbled badly at the box office. People didn't want to see him play this dark, nasty character, which is hilarious, but still a different role for him.
Look,
he got
if
$20
people haven't seen
up
Cable
front.
Guy, sorry, if people haven't seen Cable Guy, do yourself a favor. Like, that film, I think, is just fantastic.
Yeah, it showed his power that he could get something like that made, because it's very dark in places, but it's still very, very funny. Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, I loved it. Very funny. All right, let's move on very quickly to birthdays.
No, not happy birthday. No, not that. Please, no, not happy birthday.
Dan Barrett, these are all actors who have played a certain type of character, a character who finds himself in a certain type of situation. June 9, 1981, Natalie Portman. June 9, 1963, the soon-to-be-cancelled Johnny Depp, if he hasn't already been. June 11, 1933, Gene Wilder. And June 13, 1962, the lovely and very talented Ali Sheedy. Now, what could these actors have all done on screen that binds them together?
Well, look, I mean, I can think of a world of pure imagination that binds 2 of them together, but I don't know how that connects then to Ali Sheedy and Natalie Portman. Natalie Portman, you know, there's a couple of obvious sort of key roles, and I can't think of a time where either Ali Sheedy, Johnny Depp, or Gene Wilder showed their bottom in a Wes Anderson movie. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't find the connection.
All right. Natalie Portman starred as Evie in the subversive classic V for Vendetta from 2025, in which she spent most of the first part of the film in a prison. Now, Johnny Depp played a tuneful juvenile delinquent sent to prison in John Waters' first studio film, Paramount's Cry Baby, in 1990. Gene Wilder, of course, went to prison with Richard Pryor in the classic in bunny ears, 1980s comedy Stir Crazy, directed by Sidney Poitier. And Ali Sheedy played a woman jailed on trumped-up charges in the Deep South in Macon County Jail from 1997, which was a remake of 1976's Jackson County Jail, both produced by the late, great Roger Corman. And I should point out also this week, June 14 sees the birthday of one Donald J. Trump, who may or may not be going to prison sometime soon. So that is the birthday quiz for this week. They've all spent time in movie jail.
So there's a weird moment in Home Alone 2, which has Donald Trump in it. And
oh boy, yes.
The character of Kevin ends up seeing him in is it the foyer of the hotel or is it in the toy store?
No, it's in the foyer. He bumps into him in the...
Yeah, it's in the foyer.
I can't remember what hell. Probably the Waldorf Astoria or something like that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was at the Waldorf is where he's staying. But yeah, so he walks past Donald Trump and then Donald Trump sort of turns around and sort of looks into the camera, but he's kind of looking at Kevin McAllister as he's walking off. But it kind of looks like he's checking him out. It's a bit weird. Be sure to check out that, which it was definitely a choice that he made as an actor on screen.
Yes, he's made some dubious choices, Donald J. Trump, let's just say that. But let's not get political on this show, otherwise we will get emails.
I was talking about it as an actor.
Oh, yeah, he's a fine actor. He acted like a president for a while there. No, he didn't, actually. It's exactly the opposite. Anyway, we're here at the end of our show. Let's wrap this up. I've got Australian stuff to do.
Simon, I've already upset the far right in culture wars this week. I don't need to delve any further into it, okay?
Boy. Haven't you just set the internet alight with your comments supporting that racist John Blackman? No, that's not what I mean, but anyone who has heard what Dan's been through this week will know what
I've been through.
What a world,
there were a couple of knobs on Twitter. Anyway, Simon, let's wind this out. Folks, this has been the Screen Watching Podcast. We do this each and every week. You can find Screen Watching on your various social medias. That might be a Facebook, it might be Threads, it might be YouTube. You might want to hit us up on the email, which is screenwatchingpodcast@gmail.com. Simon Foster does his film-related bullshit over at screenspace-.net. So what's the address?
Nice try. Jesus Christ. With 176 episodes, you still don't know the email, the address of my page.
Well, I've never listened.
No, screen-space.net. What do you do with your time when you're not upsetting the far-right masses?
Look, I can be found over at alwaysbewatching.com. It's a newsletter which has all the stories about the streaming TV and broadcast TV and movie type stuff that I just kind of find a bit interesting on any given day. Check that out at alwaysbewatching.com. And then every week I do a sort of wrap up of the various TV shows that have debuted that week, the streaming shows, the streaming movies, and that's as part of the Always Be Streaming newsletter. And that's available also at alwaysbewatching.com.
I do want to point out very quickly that we did get a comment on our YouTube page through the week. Somebody from an episode from many, many months ago in which we gave a fairly scathing review to the Meg 2. They said in the comment section, they wrote, "Nobody wants to listen to you two crap on about movies for an hour." To which I reply, "We know, we've seen the viewing figures." You're right. So well spotted, young man. And thanks for revisiting an old episode of Screen Watching. It's always nice to know that we're being archived by the listening public. But yes, you're right in every way.
For clarity, I didn't give a review to the Meg 2 because I haven't seen that movie. So it must have been you.
That was definitely me ripping it to shreds. So when you upset the Jason Statham fans, they hunt you down.
Simon, that's the end of the podcast. We'll be back next week as we get on some more of our bullshit. Folks, we'll see you then.